Blue Lotus, Flower, Lavender, Purple, CounselingCenter.com. JohnsTherapyPractice.com. Heart-Centered Lotus Flower, Yoga, Peace, Wellness, HolisticCenter.com. All right, naming a private practice is hard. I get it. I've been there. There's a lot of things to think about when you're naming your private practice, but I promise it'll get a little bit clearer after you watch this video. Let's dive in. My name's John Clark. I'm a licensed therapist, private practice expert, and I help therapists grow their private practice. I know that naming a private practice is hard, but let me tell you this, you just need a name that's good enough. I'd rather have a bit of a mediocre or a bland name that I can then brand really well and that I'm not going to outgrow than a name that is going to really pigeonhole me in one corner, or a name that I'm going to completely outgrow, or a name that is just simply trying to do too much. All right, I got some questions for you to think about as you're naming your private practice. You can write these down as I go through them. The biggest thing to think about is, am I going to name the business after myself, or am I going to name it something generic that doesn't include my name? 9 times out of 10, I'm going to suggest the latter. Almost always name your business after something generic, even if it's just you, one person working in the business. My reason for this is simple. You don't know where this business is going, and if you're going to put in all this time, energy, money, blood, sweat, and tears into growing this practice, and especially growing this brand, this website, this web presence, all that stuff, imagine what that could be worth 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now if you could potentially sell it, versus yourname.com and trying to sell that in the same way in your particular region 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now. It's just not gonna happen. I made this when I built my first practice, johnclarktherapy.com in San Francisco. I had worked so hard for so many years to build up this practice, to get it full, to grow my contact list, to make a great website that was ranking consistently in San Francisco. And guess what? The second that I was leaving to move back to the East Coast, that business was worth this many dollars. I knew I never wanted to replicate that mistake again, so when I moved back to the East Coast, I started a new private practice with the generic name Charlotte Counseling and Wellness. Again, even that name, nothing too exciting or particularly sexy about it, but when done well, when branded well, that name really took off and became worth a lot of money. Not to mention, naming the practice as such is the thing, or one of the things, that allowed me to eventually sell that group practice in April 2019. Okay, so back to those questions that you should ask yourself as you're naming your private practice. Number 1, will I ever hire someone to be part of this practice with me? If so, there's your answer, go with a generic name. Number 2, do you ever think you'll move or expand your practice? In my case, Charlotte Counseling and Wellness did really well because the practice is in Charlotte. But I will say one limitation was, as soon as we wanted to open a satellite office in Huntersville, North Carolina, the brand didn't make quite as much sense. In general, I'm just going to go ahead and recommend against putting regional keywords into your private practice name and into your URL. We used to think this was a lot more important, and in fact, Google used to really reward this a lot more, which is why part of why I named the business Charlotte Counseling and Wellness. But today, that's much less relevant. It's more important that I think you have a nice, short, generic business name and a nice .com address and a business name that you can take and you can brand well and you have enough room to grow and expand. Number 3, how much time, energy, and money are you willing to put into the naming process itself? Naming your private practice is one of the most important steps you'll take, because after you've grown this thing, it's really, really hard and inconvenient to change it. Point blank, if you want to name your private practice the right way, I highly recommend working with a branding agency that can help you do exactly this. And number 4, would there ever be a situation where you could potentially sell either the practice or even just sell the website? Now, most therapists are not thinking about this, but they should. Even if you remain a solo practitioner between now and 20 years from now, you might as well build a brand and a website that could sell. As an example, when you're looking to value a business or buying a brand, it could be worth at minimum 1 year of your salary. On the other hand, it could be worth 1 to 5x your yearly salary. So think about that right now. How much do you make in a year? And then imagine someone paying you that money to buy your brand when you're ready to close your doors or transition your practice. To me, it's a no-brainer, and for a lot of people, this is just money left on the table, so don't let that be you. Ultimately, again, you want a private practice name and a brand that fits pretty well now and could continue to fit and you could grow into and pivot around in for years to come. Again, I'm always going to choose a more generic name over a more niche or specific name because we don't know what the future holds. So again, something that focuses on your niche of either the methodology like CBT, or the demographic like teenage girls, or the area like Houston, Texas. In general, I'm going to steer away from all three of these things because we don't know how you and your business are going to pivot over the years, and we want to leave room for that. What's your private practice name and how did you choose it? Let me know in the comments below. Do you have some ideas for your private practice name and you want my feedback? Let me know that in the comments below and I'll be sure to respond. If you want more help naming your practice, we've got an entire blog post just for this at privatepracticeworkshop.com. On that blog post, you can even search for your URL or domain ideas on a tool that's embedded into that post. Again, what's key is that you pick a name that is just good enough and you commit to it and you keep moving forward in your private practice. All right, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Again, leave comments below. Enjoy the other free videos on this channel. And if we can help anyway, just head to privatepracticeworkshop.com. Again, I'm John Clark. Thanks for being here and I'll see you really soon.